Hello, everyone, and welcome to Through the Bible. Today is episode 11, Genesis 41 through 44. So, the last time we talked about Joseph interpreting the dreams of the cupbearer and the baker. He's now been in prison for another 2 years because the cupbearer kind of forgot him after he got elevated back to Pharaoh's house. But during that time, Joseph has not lost faith. He has not lost hope. In Proverbs 13:18, it says that hope deferred makes the heart grow sick. And too often we get frustrated because things don't happen the way we expect them to happen. They certainly don't happen in the time frame that we expect them to happen. And we start allowing the gifts of God to diminish in our lives, to atrophy in our lives. But this wasn't the case for Joseph. He was still ready to use the gift that God had given him. We don't know what was going on in his mind, but we do know that he had at least held on to the promises of God enough to where those spiritual gifts were still resident and active in his life. So he's probably been in Egypt, by the way, since probably about the age of 17. At this point in our story, he is now 30 years old. So that gives you an idea of how long this process was. Again, like Abraham, God is not in a hurry. His time frame is not our time frame. Sometimes things take a lot longer than we expect them to happen. I'm sure when Joseph had his dreams, he didn't think it would be that long, but it was. But everything changed in a moment when his gift came out, when he was able to use his gift for Pharaoh. God had set all of this up ahead of time. And now he is set to be the second highest leader in the land. And he's given a wife, and he has two sons by the name of Manasseh and Ephraim. Manasseh means God has made me forget all my hardship. And Ephraim means God has made me fruitful in the land of affliction. Sometimes we need to think about both of those names and apply those spiritually to our lives. Ephraim, God has made me forget my hardship. God is going to get me through this. I heard a preacher say a long time ago, if you're going through hell, don't stop. And that's the truth. If you're going through hell, don't stop. Keep going. Get through it. The point is that you're getting through it. You're not stuck there. And so God will get us to a point where we forget all that hardship. If not in this life, then certainly in the life to come. That none of this will seem anything worthwhile to consider based on the glory that is going to be placed in us, as the Apostle Paul said. To Genesis chapter 42, we see that Joseph has been testing his brothers after they have made their journey to Egypt to find food during the great famine, the very thing that the dreams prophesied. And so Simeon has been withheld, and they return home. Uh, and Jacob is somewhat feeling, I think, a little sorry for himself. It's interesting that he says, Joseph is gone, Simeon is gone, and now you want Benjamin, because Joseph had required of them that if they were going to come back, if they were ever to see him again, they would have to bring his younger brother Benjamin with him. So Reuben, who had failed Joseph during the pit and the cell transaction. Remember, he was trying to save Joseph's life, which he did save his life, but he was gone when he was actually sold into Egypt. He now puts his own sons on the line and says, you can have the life of my sons if we don't bring Benjamin back. So then in 43, we see that Jacob finally gets to the point where they're running out of food. They don't have what they need. So he sends them on, and he says, well, take the best of the land. And they take what they do have, and they put them together, all the nuts and the oils and the different things that are good about where they're living, and put them together as a gift to Joseph. And this reminds us of Proverbs 18:16, which says, a man's gift opens doors for him and brings him before great men. Sometimes it's wise to have that gift go before you. In Genesis 44, we see that Joseph gives them a final test with the silver in the bags again, this time his silver cup placed in his youngest brother Benjamin's bag, and he says that he's going to hold Benjamin back. Now, Judah at this point, if you remember, Judah is the one who came up with the idea of selling Joseph into slavery, and now he is going to be the one to appeal for Benjamin's life, offering his own in his place. And this is very important because I believe that a part of what Joseph has been doing all along is trying to test his brothers' hearts to see if there's been a change in their hearts, if they still feel the way that they've always felt. And we do see some contrition there. We see a recognition that They even believe that God is doing this to them because of what they did to their brother. So even though they haven't confessed to their dad, even though they haven't really came to grips with what they did to their brother, we see that now all of this is kind of bringing it all to a point, and they're having to deal with their past sins. And so that's where we end up in chapter 44. And tomorrow we will pick up with chapter 45. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.